I want to talk about also in every homicide case, we come up with what's the strongest evidence? Is it the forensic evidence, in this case, the blood, the DNA, or is it the digital evidence? The cell phone, they wouldn't have found where he threw these bags
without the cell phone.
Without the cell phone.
Right.
Again, the cell phone and the digital evidence is that, pardon the expression, smoking gun evidence that leads the police. They were able to collect these items that belonged to Jennifer Dulos that he was throwing in the garbage, unaware that he's being videotaped.
Bill, I have to say that I think that the technical evidence, the technology, the cell phone evidence is going to probably be stronger, only because what you just pointed out. There's numerous locations that they were able to find videotape based on the movements of his cell phone that put him at locations dumping bags of garbage. Had they found the victim's body in a garbage dump or some location, that would have obviously made it a little bit stronger. But I think the fact that she's been ruled as deceased, and they did have the technology, the cell phone evidence that led them to those locations, and you come up with video, it's already determined. She admits that that's her on the video. She said clearly indicates and identifies that it's him, that it's photos. So with those two things, I think that even though DNA is super powerful, don't get me wrong, if they found, or let's say commingled blood of either one of these two perpetrators, whether it be Fotis or Michelle, mixed with Jennifer's blood, then I think that would have been a stronger DNA. But the fact that the technology provided the clues that they were able to come up with this evidence, I'm going to go with the technology on it.
Gemma McDonald, does anyone think he transported Jennifer in the red truck and later disposed her? Or did he bury her somewhere on the way back home? Mike, I'm going to let you answer that.
That's a great question. We don't know. I'd want to go back over, all the timeline and look at it, and that strange truck sitting there, Michelle's car. Michelle, I'm not sure what kind of SUV you want to call it, sitting there.
It was a Tacoma or something.
Tacoma, okay. Sitting there, it's in reverse. It probably was sitting. It looks like I would have said she was transported in that car. He transported her in her own car. And so therefore, if there's her DNA if he's aware, her DNA would be in her car. So it wouldn't be weird. But it was sitting there in reverse, no gas, car died. I would think that would be the transport vehicle. The idea, because in the garage, you see what looks like a Range Rover or something like that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure if that's a different car. So he probably, my theory would be he killed.
Well, Mike, he probably drove her there in her car and then had someone pick him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michelle Tricotta's probably picked him up. In his car.
But
right?
I'm thinking, where would the body be? And that's the hard part, because you got to try to, you got to take care of that fact as a prosecutor that, she's not a missing persons anymore. Because if without any sort of DNA, blood or any evidence like that, the Draconis or Fotis, if he was alive, he could claim she just disappeared. She just disappeared, and and she's alive somewhere in the United States. We have no idea.
Well, they tried that defense also.
Yeah.
Trish Norman, what happens when you clean up dried blood with a wet, damp cloth? Are you telling me she doesn't know the difference between a coffee spill versus blood? Trish, I'm telling you, of course she knows the difference, but this is her answer.
She's giving a bullshit story. She's covering her ass with a bullshit story. But Mike, you were talking about the disposal of the body. I mean, it appears that they kind of felt that they did extensive searches in the garbage dumps, that she was dumped in that nature. They didn't find it, but they did find bloody clothes and different things like that. So, I mean, like you said, we don't know exactly what transpired, but I got to tell you, the Connecticut State Police did a tremendous job in this case. They went from a missing persons report very quickly to a suspicious missing person and obviously a homicide investigation. I guess with all of the information that they had that they were faced with, they found that bloody shoe print. The person that was reporting, I believe, was the maid, and she was saying that, probably telling them there was a stormy relationship between Jennifer and Fotis. And, there was was dead. There was a lot of components here that would have led to police to believe that this was somewhat suspicious in nature with regard to a missing person.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, look, in the beginning of this case, you got to realize this case goes back to 2019 when Jennifer Dulos went missing. I'm sure there was cadaver dogs. There were searches all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't spare any expense in this investigation, and they never found her body. So, in fact, Mike, we spoke about it before we went on the air.